What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And Bitcoin is absolutely ripping right now, so I wanted to drop this urgent market update for you guys, give you an update on the price action and where I think things are going to go next. If you guys watched the live stream last night, you will know we were looking at some bullish signs on those higher time frames, looking for this potential continuation up to some very specific key levels that we are sitting at right now. Are we about to see all-time highs for Bitcoin? Is it time to finally see this thing go off into a full-blown parabolic bull run? I'm going to break it down all in today's video. We'll take a look at some of those higher targets if we do break that all-time high, because things are looking pretty strong, and I'll let you guys know how I'm handling this price action moving forward. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and as you guys know, last night, I think the thumbnail was something like all-time highs incoming question mark. We actually wound up getting a little bit of a pump on the live stream last night, but the next big level of resistance we were approaching was this value area high, guys. That was our first target, and we actually wound up hitting that during the live stream, and that caused us to look up to some of those higher targets where we were looking up towards this zone right here, sitting between about $71,850. We had two naked points of controls up here, weekly naked point of controls at that, and that was our next major target to the upside. Don't forget, guys, we have a ton of liquidity sitting above these levels, so if we start cracking this value area high, we may be able to see those squeezes to the upside, and I'll talk about those upper targets up here in a second, but when we have that liquidity sitting above, understand that as that liquidity gets taken, as the shorts get stopped out or liquidated, it will likely add buy pressure to the market, right? Giving us that extra push to the upside, and kind of giving that big liquidation wick like to the upside, right? We see these on the way down as well. Big liquidation wick. As all those longs start to get stopped out and liquidated, it creates market sell pressure in the market, giving you those big liquidation wicks. And if we are able to see those wicks push us up, liquidate those shorts, and get us that big push to the upside, this is the next target I'm looking at. And again, I'll give you those levels in just a minute. And here we are, guys. If we are going to get a reaction and we are not just going to yeet up and continue from here, this is going to be a big level of resistance to get above. But the good news here, guys, is we don't really have too much above these levels to hold us back from all-time highs. Really, the only level we have is the actual $73,951 all-time high. Call it 74K. And that is really the only thing holding us back from getting into that beautiful, beautiful price discovery that we love to see Bitcoin in. And after this 7-month range, it would be really nice to just see Bitcoin go here. We are still technically in October. We're running out of time, but we still have time for October to play out here. And if you guys keep up with the live streams, you will know last night, one of the things that we were looking at that was looking pretty good here was that 3-day, as it was showing bearish signs back in the day here in August as money flow came into the red. We needed this money flow to come back into the green. And yesterday we were looking at this little tick up here, which did look very good. And on top of that, we also had this VWAP flip where we had the red dot on the 3-day instantly stepped on, which was one of the things we were looking at to potentially look for these higher prices. Now, on top of that, we knew that although we were looking for the pullback here at 69,500, we took that short in the premium Discord, and then we went long here at the bottom at 65.9, made a few $1,000s on that move, but then I wound up getting stopped out in profit right before price ripped, but it's no big deal. I'm not FOMOing in. There's always another opportunity with the trades, guys, so don't force anything. If you're feeling the FOMO, do not fall into that trap. There will always be another opportunity to wait for a pullback, find another long position, or maybe even catch a short up here. We will definitely be looking for all those trades in the premium, but as you guys know, here on the daily, once we wound up getting a bullish change of character here, we looked for that higher low to come in at that value area low, and then we wound up looking for that break of structure to the upside, which gives us a bullish market structure, which at that point, you are going to be favoring long positions, expecting continuous breaks of structure to the upside. You have the change of character, the higher low, the break of structure, another higher low, and then another break of structure. And the trend is your friend until the end. And this is something that was a little bit different than all the other times that we wound up approaching the value area high of this range. Now, sure, we wound up getting a bullish change of character here, but we wound up just coming back down in a big way. But then on this approach, we wound up seeing this nice clean uptrend, which was giving us that possibility to not only come up to the value area high, but also potentially break to higher prices. Now, one thing I do want to go over with you guys here is the fact that we knew that we had liquidity sitting above this value area high. You might be thinking, Frankie, how the heck could you know that once you break above that value area high, it might be a quick move into this zone? And that simply comes down to the liquidity, guys. When you have a lot of liquidity from the short positions sitting above a level of resistance like this, when price comes into those stop losses, and starts stopping out and liquidating the short positions, this will cause a mass liquidation event. And I guess a mass stop out event. But when you get stopped out or liquidated out of a short position, it creates a market buy, which is oftentimes what causes this big explosive move to the upside. And we have seen that play out beautifully. And even if I pull up the liquidation heat maps, guys, we saw that right here between about 70,000 and 70,100, we had all this liquidity. And we knew once we come up and grab this, not only would it act as a magnet sucking price up to this level, but then once we push into those liquidation levels, that's where you oftentimes see that buy pressure come in and push price up in a very big way. Now, I'm going to bring these back up in just a second. I just want to kind of explain why we see those big explosive moves to the upside. We also obviously had other buy pressure come in here. It's not just the liquidations that caused that big move up, but you can see that, once you break that level, you start to see those big moves to the upside. This is also backed up. You can see here on Exo charts, we are getting these big liquidation bubbles showing you that the shorts are getting absolutely slapped. And if I pull up the net shorts here, you can see there are a lot of shorts closing out on this move to the upside and then confirmed by that liquidation bubble sitting right here. So we are seeing that this big move up was indeed at least partially caused by that short squeeze and those short liquidations getting triggered. And now we are sitting at a key level of resistance. But now for the fun part, guys, I do want to get into what happens if we continue to push up here, because like I said, there's not that much resistance sitting above us. And at this point, as long as we maintain this bullish market structure, now that we are outside of this value area, we could potentially be expecting all-time highs for Bitcoin very, very soon, like we were looking at on the live stream when we were down here at $69,500. So very simply put here, guys, as you can see, our all-time high sitting at about $74,000 is really the only next major level to the upside. Once we come up, now could we see a lot of noise here? Potentially, right? This is obviously a strong level of resistance. Maybe we get a little pullback, but again, just like down here when we were getting the pullback, we were not looking for zero, right? I was hoping to come down here to about 64,500 for a little bit deeper of a pullback. We were short from the top in the premium Discord, but we didn't wind up getting that $64,500 level. However, we were still looking for those higher lows based off the bullish market structure here on the daily. We look for the highs, the higher lows, the higher highs, the higher lows, and the higher highs, right? It is all about understanding the trend and the actual environment that you're trading in. We're not looking for giga shorts here because we know that market structure is bullish. We also have the money flow on the higher time frame starting to come back up. So if we do continue up here, guys, that $74,000 all-time high is really the level. Once we wind up getting above that, this is where things can get exciting again. This was kind of that first level. $70,100 at that value area high was the first zone that we knew. We had the liquidations. If we pop above here, we could see things start to get going pretty quickly. And then that next big level I see on the chart here, guys, is that $73,951 level. Because once we start breaking this, we also have a ton of liquidity sitting up here, which could cause another one of those big moves to the upside. And I'm going to talk about those next targets in just a second. But I want to pull up the heat maps here and take a look at them with you guys, because as you can see here on the 1-year heat map, those liquidations up here on the higher time frames really start to pick up around $74,000. You can see this big hot spot of liquidity. So if we could wind up coming in and pushing above this, we may be able to get another big explosive move to the upside as those longer term shorts start getting liquidated and stopped out. And then add a little bit of FOMO, Bitcoin breaks its all-time high, all the retail comes back in, and it could potentially fuel a much bigger move up. Now obviously we're not just going to look for this. If we come up to those levels, we will be very cautious, analyzing the new information coming on into the charts. If things started to for some reason look bearish there, we would be able to change our plan and capitalize off of that. But as of right now, if we wind up cracking that level, this could be another doorway to see those liquidations start to explode back to the upside. And those next targets that I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to come on over here to the Bitstamp chart so we can get a little bit more price history. There are some serious levels that I'm looking at. Now, number one, we do have a spider line sitting right here, depending on, when we come up to it. This obviously trends up over time, but this is coming in at about $75,000. So between about 75, if we wind up cracking that all-time high, let me go ahead and mark it out here roughly. So about $74,000, we start cracking that. We do have that $75,000 spider line sitting right here. So that is something you want to keep an eye on. If you guys want to learn how to get these spider lines on your chart, you can check the YouTube channel, type in Frankie Candles spider lines. You'll be able to find that tutorial. But if we wind up cracking above here, guys, those liquidations may be able to push us up to our next major target, which is going to be sitting at around $79,850 all the way up to about $81,000. So this zone of resistance is going to be absolutely massive to watch, and it could potentially be that next major target and major level that we'll get a reaction off of if we wind up breaking those all-time highs. And like I said, with the liquidity already sitting above with the bullish market structure now on the daily, and the fact that we are finally looking to break out of this massive 7-month range. When you have a lot of consolidation like this over a long time, sometimes it can cause a very big move to the upside. And we do have some other levels up here creeping up towards about $88,000 to $90,000. But, let's take this one step at a time. I don't just want to instantly call for 90K. Let's see if we can get some kind of a breakout of the all-time highs. But if we do wind up seeing that, likely it will happen very quickly. I want the Mafia to be aware of those next targets to the upside. So that is kind of what I'm looking at in the long term. And shout out to anybody in the live stream last night as we were looking at those liquidations, as we were talking about what would happen if we pushed into them, and looking at those next major levels of resistance, which is literally where we are sitting right now. But things could start to get exciting pretty quickly here, guys. But remember, do not FOMO. If you are not in long positions or anything like that, please, for the love of God, do not FOMO. Will you luck out once in a while? Sure, but it is not really a sustainable way to trade. So we're going to keep an eye on this price action up here, see if we can continue up. But again, we'll see what the higher time frame candles give us on this level of resistance. This thing does not want to stop, and you do not want to fight the bulls, guys. When they get angry, they like to go buck wild and send this thing. So I am going to be careful up here. But for me, there is no new long positions unless we can get some kind of a pullback. Until then, I'm looking for scalp shorts on the way back down, waiting for the next long opportunity to potentially capitalize on the next push up. And hopefully watching this channel, guys, seeing the live streams, if you're in the premium, hopefully you see those posts in the premium, and you guys are kind of seeing how we're able to spot that liquidity and anticipate these big explosive moves up based off of where the liquidity is sitting in the market, coming up to those key levels. So if we can hold support above this weekly naked point of control at $72,592, this would be a nice level to hold. But again, I'm going to let price action kind of settle down here. If we can get some consolidation, that would be great. Maybe we can find another trade. But if not, I am sitting on my hands waiting for these key levels to get reactions before taking another high probability trade. So with all that being said, Mafia, I hope you guys are in profit out there. Hopefully your spot bags are pumping. Hopefully you guys are in long positions. Don't forget to pay yourselves along the way, and hopefully we can get this to pump us higher and give us those all-time highs to come in. That's what we're looking for. If anything changes, I'll be the first person to let you know with one of these urgent market updates or on the live stream at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's all the time I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Shout out to the Mafia. Frankie Candles
Here we
out.
go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide.